In today's video, we're taking a look at a rig which has caused an untold amount of controversy over the years, and yet is still said to be one of the all-time greats. This is the 360 rig. So, as I mentioned in the intro, the 360 rig has been around for quite some time and has gone through various different variations along the way, as most rigs do. Now, the original sort of plan for the 360 rig was to present a rig which had very similar hooking potential to that of a hinged stiff rig or a chod rig, where that hook has loads of free movement and the ability to flip and turn in super quick time, which is exactly what we all need these rigs to do. Now, obviously the 360 rig, although it was based around that sort of principle, the idea was that it was much lower to the lake bed, creating a situation where you are offering a pop-up presentation that looks so low it could almost be mistaken for a bottom bait by larger carp. Now, obviously, when you're fishing for larger carp, quite often a bottom bait does look more inconspicuous, and so it can lead to that extra bite. The 360 rig scores very highly in departments of both hooking potential and obviously ease of presentation and ease of construction. Now, obviously this video is all about how to construct one, and with the help of the guys over at Gemini, I'm going to show you how to do that in record time. Now, before we get on to the actual tying of the rig, there is just sort of one sort of caveat that I want to make you guys aware of. Now, for quite some time, the 360 rig was actually banned at lots of different venues throughout the country, and in all honesty, it wasn't entirely the rig's fault, and it was basically down to the components that were available at the time. Now, quite some time ago, hooks were not as precisely machined as what they are now, and landing nets had very large and untidy sort of mesh patterns, if you like. So a combination of the two meant that if an angler wasn't particularly careful once the fish was in the net and they were to lift the fish out of the water with the net, that hook eye could potentially catch in the net, causing the hook to be ripped from the carp's mouth and then obviously causing mouth damage. Now, luckily that is a thing of the past, because modern day hooks, we don't have that problem. There are no gaps between where the sort of the eye meets the shank of the hook, and again, modern day landing nets are far higher quality, and they've all got nice really soft meshes now. So what I'm trying to say is that the 360 rig originally did get a bit of a bad rep for itself, but it wasn't due to the rig, and I am going to show you a way how to tie the 360 rig to make it perfectly safe. And it's a really simple technique, and it probably could have saved the rig being banned in the first place. Within the creation of this rig, we are going to be using the tidy booms from the guys at Gemini Tackle. Now, as you are probably fully aware by now, I absolutely love the things. Not only do they make my rig stronger, they make them quicker to tie, and they offer me a level of camouflage which is basically not available in any other way. Anyway, enough of me waffling on about why I like them. Let me tell you a couple of reasons why you're going to like them. First of all of the Gemini tidy booms, basically all of the fluorocarbon products that Gemini offer, are made right here in the UK. So you know you're getting a product which is basically the same every time that you purchase it. Quality control can be monitored at every single stage of the process, so you know you're getting a product you can rely on. I briefly touched on camouflage when it comes to the tidy booms, but let me put it into something which is just a little bit more scientific. These have a light refractive index of 1.42, which is basically identical to that of water. So when they are submerged into water, they practically vanish, far superior to any braid or coated braid hook link. At either end of the tidy boom, there is a fused loop, and this goes for a process called fuse bond technology. It offers an extremely neat loop while also offering a massive strength increase over tying a conventional style knot. So for example, if you're used to tying a figure-of-8 loop knot into your 25-pound braided hook link, that knot might actually part at roughly 20 pounds, so you actually lose in strength. That's not the case with the fuse bond technology. The breaking strain of the tidy booms is 30 pounds, and that will break at 30 pounds. You are not losing any strength, any reliability, and that is what Gemini Tackle is all about. That 30-pound breaking strain means that the tidy booms come in with a diameter of 0.50. The perfect balance between abrasion resistance, that strength, that reliability that we've spoken about, and of course just the right amount of rigidity to help your rigs reset time and time again, which is a massive part of modern day carp rigs. The tidy booms come in packs of 3 and they're available in 3 different sizes. You've got the 5.5 inch, the 7 inch and the 9 inch. It just enables you to tailor your rig to your fishing situation. And as a little side note, the pack of 3 tidy booms comes in at just £4.19, and they're not something that you have to replace every single time that you catch a fish. These tidy booms are so strong and durable, they'll go on and on. So, you know, you can catch multiple fish on each rig without any problems whatsoever. Now in today's video, we're going to be using the tidy booms for the 360 rigs, and as part of one of the fused loops on the end, these have a size 11 ring swivel. Now if you don't want to use a 360 rig, luckily the guys at Gemini make tidy booms for a whole host of different rigs. So whether you want to fish a Ronnie rig or a D rig, there's something for you. Pop onto the Gemini website and there's loads of information, not just about tidy booms, but about a whole host of other bits of kit that they do, and they're all fantastic, so make sure to take a look. Anyway, onto the creation of the 360 rig. First of all, you need to pick what length tidy boom that you're going to use. For this particular one, I'm going to use one of the 5.5 inch. Now the 360 rig is an incredibly easy rig to construct, and I use the word construct because with the use of a tidy boom, there's not a single knot that needs to be tied. Now that you've got your tidy boom out of the packet, take your chosen hook. In this scenario, I'm going to be using a size 4 curved shank hook, and the first step is to simply take the point of the hook and thread it down through the size 11 ring swivel that is attached to the tidy boom. Once you've done that, slide that swivel all the way around so that it's butted up against the eye of the hook. The next step is to take a small rubber hook bead and just place that over the tip of the hook and then slide that down and round the shank to basically lock that swivel in place down towards the eye of the hook. Now you do need to leave a small gap up to a couple of millimeters, and that is basically what's going to aid with adding free movement to the rig. You want this to act as naturally as possible because that is what's going to catch you more fish. The next step is to take a small hook bait swivel and once again pop the point of the hook down and through that, and then just let it sit on the back of the shank of the hook. Now you need to take another hook bead and slide it down and round the shank so that the base of it is level with the barb of the hook, and that is going to lock your hook bait swivel into place. And as you can see, this is basically 90% of the 360 rig tied already. This is how quick and simple fishing can be, and it's an extremely effective rig as well, so it's certainly one that is worth considering putting into your armoury. Now it is quite simply a case of adding your hook bait. Now to do that, I'll use a bit of floss, thread it through the hook bait swivel, and then obviously pull that through the boilie and then blob it down with a lighter. Now when it comes to the 360 rig, it is, as far as I'm aware, only really used as a pop-up rig. I certainly have never used it with a wafter or a bottom bait. I'm not saying it can't be done, I'm just saying I don't know how it would work and how effective it would be. But with a nice buoyant pop-up, you certainly won't have any issues whatsoever. So once you've thread that floss through, give it a little trim and then just blob it down with a lighter as I mentioned. So now the hook bait is on, the 360 rig is almost complete. Just a few little steps to go and we're done. Quite simply add a small piece of putty around the fused part of the tidy boom, and I like to have this rig sort of sinking slowly so that it settles over any debris that may be on the bottom of the lake. Now, I did mention right at the beginning of this video, I was going to show you a technique to make sure that this rig is 100% safe. Now, the guys at Gemini do make pre-cut pieces of heat shrink tube. So these are 10mm in length and come in a nice matte black color. Slide that over the eye of the hook, and then you can just use a lighter just to heat that up to shrink the tube. Now, you do have to be a little bit careful because although it is on a metal to metal connection, so technically the lighter won't damage anything, you do need to keep the lighter away from the fluorocarbon boom because it most definitely will damage that. Once that heat shrink tube has shrunk and cooled, you can just trim the end of it off with a pair of scissors, and now you know that the eye of the hook is 100% covered, meaning you're not going to have any problems with any kind of mouth damage. And there we have the 360 rig, the perfect little rig for popping into silty gullies or those silty seams that surround gravel patches. Yeah, it's a lovely little pop-up presentation, and as I said, it looks so low to the lake bed that it can quite often be mistaken for a bottom bait. If you haven't used a 360 rig in your fishing before, why not get a couple of booms from the guys at Gemini, tie a few of these up because it will take you no time at all, and then just go to a proper runs water, a real smash it up session. You'll catch loads of fish, and then you can check and see the hook holds for yourself. As I say, a fantastic rig that can be constructed in basically no time at all. If you found this video helpful, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on any more products just like this from the guys at Gemini. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much.